I would like to dedicate this film to Chief David Lattès, who was one of our last hereditary chiefs of the Saanich people. I would also like to dedicate it to the children of Saanich, the present ones and those that will come in the future, and to all those people who have made a contribution to the realization of this great Saanich dream.
One day, a long, long time ago, the waters began to rise. The people began to worry as the waters rose up to their homes. They collected their belongings and went to their canoes. As the water rose, they paddled to the highest mountain. When they reached the top, one of the men made a long anchor rope of cedar bark. The waters rose to the top of the mountain. The people were anchored there for a long time, but were well prepared and had lots of dried salmon to eat. As they were tied up there, a raven came and landed on the bow of the canoe. It seemed to be telling them something. So finally, one of the men pointed out to the far distance and said, "Ni, Quanat, the Saanich, look what's emerging." So then they knew that this is what the raven was telling them. They knew that the flood was over. As the tide went down, they gathered in a circle and gave thanks to the mountain that saved their lives. And they said, from now on, this mountain will be called Tewangach, the place of refuge, and we will be called the Saanich people.
This is how we are Saanich people today. I think from the vision of those old people that they knew that there was going to be a flood. And as years went by, they still had those visions for our people, the Saanich people. I know way back in 1938, when I was about 8 years old, people were thinking about betterment for our people at that time, which were hard times in 1938, and they built this little school that they have here. Where I first came to school, I didn't know a word of English. Never knew how to speak not one English word. But I was fluent in two dialects. I was fluent in the Santasan language and the Halkamenam language, which is Cowichan. Some of my ancestors came from Cowichan. But I'm proud that I'm a Saanich person. I learned well the traditions of our people. And as time grew, as I grew, and then they transferred me to a residential school, which I don't have too good a memories of. You know, it wasn't all that good to talk about. Because at that time they had told us that we cannot speak or we cannot practice our way as Native people. But we carried on our traditions, our ways. And I think today that, you know, I'm one of the people that are very proud that I did stick to talking my language and teaching the history of our people as I am now. And hopefully that you children will be proud that you're Saanich people, because we have went a long ways in the last few years, the vision that our elders had.
Edeltas appelt die Schwelle kun steht die enok. Wonen tulus chinangat. Cheat das jalla just the late khawachin. And he couldn't teach. The stay weird. Eat the tachtens. Chow sta SAP. What is chattings? See school out. Why sit this question?
Going to bring the community closer together with the parents and the children, the elders, and the teachers, the students, that they would all come together in this building time and time again. And the parents and the elders wouldn't be afraid to come into the building, because it's our school, it's the Indian school, and it's for our children, and they're there to help our children. Because a lot of our children need encouragement from their parents and their grandparents to keep going to school and to learn the kind of education that they need. And no matter how good the building looks, as long as the children are willing to learn and to understand their education for the future and plan a goal for themselves, that they're going to make it. They're not going to finish as soon as they get to grade 8 at the Linnell School, that they're going to go on to grade 9 and graduate to 12. Maybe go on to Commotion College and some kind of institutional training they want for technical training or some kind of trade that they're interested in. That was my vision I had, that I want to see our children, more of our children graduate. And with this new school, we're trying to encourage them that they really need the education and that they can go beyond grade 8 and graduate.
I guess what I really like the school to be remembered for is the chief before me. He worked on it a long time before I did. Late Chief Norman Williams. When we were meeting in this, planning the school, some of our people couldn't get along with each other, and he spoke up, and he didn't get mad. He just advised them really nicely that if we're going to get this school done, we're going to have to forget about everything and work together as one.
I just have to go back to a little bit of history there to talk about what old Tommy Paul told the young people here. He said, one day you're going to have to understand that it's going to be what is offered to you in the schooling. It's not easy to tell somebody that you have to have a piece of paper to go and get a fish. So education is starting to become a must. The people who are having children now are some of the people that come from Cooper Island School. And if we want to continue to look at ourselves as the native people, then many things have to be looked at very seriously. And one major thing, and that was the new school. To bring the children together, and where they will often see older people walk into the school and visit them.
As far back as I can remember in terms of education in Saanich is with the old school, the one-room school that we attended, and it was taught by initially by lay teachers, and there was grades 1 to 9 in the school, and that was the beginning of education as I understood it. And it was through a lot of struggle of many of our people that we began the process of working towards control of our own education. In later years, in the same school, the Sisters of the Immaculate Conception became the teachers. These were teachers that came up from California. And then a new school was realized just next to the old school. It was probably a 4 or 5 room school, and it was mainly run by the nuns, but it was the responsibility of running the school really rested with the Department of Indian Affairs, and they very seldom showed up and were absentee landlords. And because we were dissatisfied with the lack of involvement of Indian people, we formed the Saanich Indian School Board. And there were a number of people that played key roles. Marie Cooper made a contribution, Grand Chief Samuel Sam. And in more recent years, myself and the 4 elected band councils of the 4 bands which form our school board. In 1976, the original school that was built after we moved out of the one-room school burned down, and we were temporarily offered mobile units until a new school was built. And this is where the children stayed from 1976 until 1989. The federal government had no inkling to build a school because they felt Indian people were moving into the provincial schools, and by and large the baby boom was over for the non-Indian society, and there was a lot of buildings that were underused or were being closed down, and they didn't want us to build another school. So we had a very difficult time in lobbying the federal government to convince them that we needed this new school to build a sense of success for our children, because we could see that they weren't succeeding in the provincial schools to the degree that we have liked them to succeed. So we began working with the board and our project team and the elders, and we eventually convinced the government that there was a need for a school. And we did this through studies and looking back at what had happened in the past 20 years, and we looked ahead and we looked at the present situation and we presented to them and showed that we could do a better job running our own educational system. And so they gave us the money, and we told them that we didn't want anybody to build it. We wanted to build it ourselves with our own people, and we wanted to take over.
Salatan Sam at the Haha Neil and Junating at the end of Books Spay Salat Haha. We have always understood the name comes from the sacred name. Just to mention the many uses we have benefited by the cedar and what it has to offer us. And we honor the cedar for that. You have sheltered us, you have transported us, and from you we have made our cedar to carve and to demonstrate our history.
Yesterday, the grades 4, 5, 6, and 7s went to Faywellnoch Mountain. When we got there, we had to walk to the top. It was really nice. When we got to the top of the mountain, we ate our lunch. I thought it would have been a lot nicer and quieter without all that observatory stuff around. After we finished our lunch, we all gathered in a circle. Sammy Sam started to talk about Faywellnoch Mountain. He told us the stories of the flood. After Sammy Sam talked, Philomena talked. Philomena talked about taking money from our parents and how wrong it is. Lyle taught us not to be followers and to be doers. He wants to be able to see us get good jobs and be good athletes. My mom taught us we will feel different when we are in other schools. Do the best we can. She taught us to think of our education and later of our social life.
We had meetings maybe 2 or 3 times a week, just to plan the school. And that went on for a couple of years, and then it got off to a start building. And there was a lot of criticism from the people then when we were planning this school. And a lot of people said that we'd never be able to do it. But we kept on having meetings and planning how we're going to build it and what's going to be in front of the school, how the parking lot was going to be. And there was a lot of disagreements and agreements, with each other in the meetings. And a lot of the chief and councillors around Saanich district took part in it.
The thunderbird, the whale, the raven and the wolf are the spirit protectors of the Saanich people. The thunderbird bring us strength and guidance from the secret cave on Mount Houston. Hey, hey. The whale give us protection when we travel to the sea. Hey, the wolf is the spirit protector of our sacred mountain. The raven is the carrier of the good news. The raven brought the news of the ending of the great flood. The human face on the sunbird's crest represents the one who sees this vision for the Saanich people. They are strong. Hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey.
The structure of the building is really designed after the villages that were present on the waterfront in many of our Saanich Indian communities. The building itself doesn't come to a full pitch where the classrooms are and are separated. They don't come, the roofs don't touch, and they sort of look like, I guess, what you would call a sort of a chicken house style roof. Because this is where the extended families lived in these houses. They didn't live in the ceremonial houses, they lived in these houses. And what we asked the architect to do was to condense them into a school. The walkways are modeled after the platforms that they had, that they used during the potlatches, where they had giveaways. When a potlatch was finished, it was part of our tradition of the Saanich people that whoever put on a potlatch never took anything home. There was something left over, then you went up on this platform and threw the stuff away, and people jumped for it, and whoever got it, it became theirs. And the walkways between the school and the gym and are designed after that platform that was used during the potlatch. Charles Elliott, who is one of our leading artists in Saanich, pulled together all of our artists and ensured that all the paintings that went up and the pole and everything else, the welcome figure, the eagle, were real Coast Salish designs. So all the paintings that are on the school are really Coast Salish designs and belong to no other tribe but the Saanich tribe.
to the new school, and then we're going to come back here and talk about the new school for a little while. Okay.
There's still a lot of work going around inside, so be real careful when you're walking through. Do you have any questions about the front before we get inside?
Gee, it's nice around here.
Is it nice around here? Yeah, we're starting to put all the plants and trees in. Grass. Because your grandparents asked us to cover it. They wanted it not to be shown until the opening. This area is the art area. That area over there is the cooking area. Is there any questions about this? Nice and high, isn't it? Like the library?
Yeah!
Is it bigger than our old library?
Yeah!
That'd be nice, won't it? More room.
No books here, right?
No, you gotta move all the books up here. Yeah.
Clyde's one of our painters. Everybody say hi to Clyde.
Hi,
The classrooms in the gym. I think the whole thing.
All right.
I like school. I like the school and the gym and the basketball net. The basketball net and the playground and the gym and the library.
I like two things. I like the fact that we're going to have water in our classroom, and I like the fact that we can go right outside if we want to.
What's the shower? What's here? That's the basketball stuff.
That's the basketball. Yeah, that's the backboard.
Oh yeah, it's a glass backboard. Yeah, that's cool.
This occasion will be history, and for the years to come, it will be like a story, added to the many stories of the cedar tree. We honor you in the highest, and we will thank and remember you for hundreds of years to come.
And I think of the way our old people used to speak, you know, when you are preparing to do something, and you prepare yourself, body, mind, and spirit. And we have a sort of a holistic approach to everything that we do as Indian people. And hopefully that you children that are going to school, in this school, in other schools that you will go to have higher education, that you will remember these things. That our people are very spiritual people. That they believe that there is a higher power than we are that we have to look to, and that is the Creator. And the story that is told by our people of the first people that were here in this area, that's why they call us the first people, the Aboriginal people of this country.
The people that really promoted us in terms of keeping the culture alive and the language and pushing for the school were people like my dad, Chris Paul, Dave Elliott, and Philip Pilkey. They were people who were really working hard to help us preserve the language and to get it in writing and on tape and preserve it in whatever way they could. When contact came along, the minds of the Saanich people seem to have been blocked by the forcing of things such as religion and the forced assimilation that was part of the programs of the federal government. This seemed to block the minds of the Saanich people. And I think what we're trying to do with the new school is to begin a decolonization process and clean the minds of our people and get it back to the way it was and make our education founded on good Saanich Indian thinking. We know that this will help our people succeed and contribute to the larger society. We would prefer to follow building on our successes, and I think that this is one of the underlying philosophies of our school, is to not allow one human being to tell another that they're a failure, that everything that we're going to do is going to be towards making our children, our community, and everyone feel in Saanich a sense of real success through education.
Start off, I'd like to call Mr. and Mrs. Benny Paul.
On behalf of Travis and myself, I want to thank all those responsible for these jackets. I've always admired them when I first saw them. And I do hope that this kind of activity or action will continue to further uniting our people. It is something that we really need to unite our people. And I feel very honored to put this jacket on. I know it represents a lot of coordination, a lot of work, and I do hope that the young ones will take note in terms of what I'm trying to tell you. That is very important. You grew up with a good, positive attitude. And I do hope that you listen to all the speakers that will be speaking this afternoon, expressing their gratitude, their thanks, and a great challenge. I shall stand.
The part I really liked was the planning and designing with the architect. And that took, I think we put about 2.5 years of that into it. And we started out with just little cubicles, and we used to make a lot of, well, from going around looking at other schools to look at this one, we wanted something strong, unique, that stands out. And I guess the planning and even working with the architect on this, it was a lot of fun. It really shows now that when we go to look at that building, the amount, I don't think anybody really realizes the amount of hours that the project team put in. So I remember we were meeting 2 to 3 days a week, nights a week. Then we had our regular board meetings. The project team had to report to the board, so that's just, more meetings again.
It was a pretty emotional thing at the end, and I really enjoyed listening to my kids when they'd come home from school throughout the project and talk about what was being built that day and how the school looked. And then when I'd go up there and have a look around, I really enjoyed being a part of it, and I really had to tip my hat to the workers, Bill Callio and all the boys from around the 4 reserves out here. they really put a lot of hard work and a lot of heart into the project itself. And I think they did a great job.
Thunderbird is the spiritual power, and for the protection of the mountain, protected the people when they went to the mountain, and they went there when the waters rose, and that's where they survived. And the raven is on the pole, which is was the messenger to the people that soon they'd be able to come down from the mountain. The other animal character and spiritual helpers on the pole are the killer whale, which was the mightiest creature in the ocean that our people concern themselves with. The wolf is the spiritual caretaker of the mountain. The reason the rope is in there is because our legends tell us that the waters, when the flood came, they rose so high that the people tied themselves to the top of the mountain, actually drifted above it for a while. And I have included the rope in the pole because the pole is a unity pole. It's a pole of unity for the Saanich people. And what it does is ties our legends, our stories, our background, and our history all into one. And for me, the rope was had to be in the pole because it was intended as a unity pole for the Saanich people and the children of Saanich, because it's in the school grounds. Anyway, it's a centimeter, so we'll have to figure out how much a centimeter is on an inch. Right, figure it out like that. Looks like a half inch. It is. So it'll be 6 inches drop. Mm-hmm. I might as well just dry since you notice this here. You're so close you can't see it, that's the problem. And this here is a hat that's made out of cedar bark.
Holy!
Yeah, the outside of a cedar is really rough, but on the inside it's really smooth, the bark on the inside. So what you do is you take off all the rough bark off the outside, and then you rip it into long strips, and then ladies that know how to do it weave it together. I don't know. Here's a look at
Al said he would like to come into our school and see our names on trophies and other awards. He would like to be proud of us. Spud taught us to keep our body healthy and eat good foods. He told us to listen to our parents because we will regret it when we are older. John and Earl taught us to be proud of our people and our language. Be proud of who we are and don't be ashamed of where we come from. They told us to learn our language before it dies. Then they told us a few stories and we went back down the mountain. Just before we left, Spud told us if we were listening, we would hear him say, "Stay behind, Lyle," but some didn't listen. On our way down, we saw a squirrel. It was really small and cute, and it was eating a little nut. Spud took a picture.
Talking about that school, I think it's one of the best things that ever been done around here. Years ago, we used to go there in a little square building. Nothing to be proud of, but that school there is, I think everybody from all over the world come and take a picture of it, especially that totem pole. Thanks to Charles for doing a good job. And everybody that was involved. Al there was one of the carving that pole. Mark, my boy, he was there learning. He was the youngest, I think, but he learned quite a bit just from that education, that Indian way of education, teaching your kids how our old people used to. When we see that school coming up there and the totem poles, when it's finished, every time I go by, I look over it because I'm so proud of it. It's something that should have been done years ago, but they've just done it, and then I think it's something that we should all be proud of.
W School is really a dream come true for our people. As long as I can remember, there has always been a school for the Saanich people. And I guess having gone to Sartlip School and then on to Mount Newton, I know how important it is for our own people to have their own school. And the school, Tlaloc, brings the four bands together. Having the school here is really for our own children, keeps them involved with our own culture and our own Sanchatan language.
When you look at the small world community, when people have decided they want to be free, the first thing they do is get control of their education. And this is precisely what we're doing. We want to get control of our education without anybody's interference. And this begins the decolonization process. And when we say get control of our education, we don't mean that the leaders get control, or that a single group gets control, or a single group of people within a community. We mean everybody has to get involved. The children, the elders, the parents. They have to mold the ideas that are going into the minds of these children. This is the decolonization process. This is what Indian control of Indian education means to me as a person working on education for the Saanich people.
Hey,
We've got to believe, as we have done, that we can build the school. The parents of the children built the physical plant of the school when the government said we couldn't do it. We proved to them that we could do it on budget and on time. Well, we can go on now to continue to believe in ourselves and build an educational system that is not as good as the provincial system, but is better. Because the provincial system only responds to the basics of education. It never gives you anything plus. We're looking after it. We want to fulfill the obligations of the provincial educational system because we have to live in the larger world. But we also want to have a plus in our education, and that's the Indian part, and the part that is going to teach us to be free of anybody else's direction, anybody else's brainwashing within our minds. We've got a decolonization means de-brainwashing, that we're not trying to, or we will never believe again that the place for us to succeed is in the white society. And our culture can't be saved in English. It has to be saved in our language. And we have to live as people, Saanich people. That's what we were meant to be. And it is when we started to follow the ways of the white society that we began to have problems within our lives. And using that as a foundation, the Indian culture, I think Saanich Indian people will be able to do anything. They can succeed at anything in the Indian society or the non-Indian society. And that's what we're working for within this new school.
Talnaksen så sett connecten en skru. Skott för hela machinakulet. Tjun tjäsko så läser så snänt jag kokwe. Hilang koje. Att jag har question snänt just det alla kunnat I kom hilang I. Kalkailam skotten.
Our way of life was formed on reality. The basis of our life, our way of life, was actually based on love. Love and respect for each other. Eh? Caring and sharing was the way of life.
This man, I don't know how to say thank you. He took all the weight off my shoulders when he came to Saanich. He's a very spiritual man. His family made a great sacrifice. He learned to care as much for the people as any one of us in Saanich. And it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you one of the great people from the Newfoundland Nation, Bill Kelly.
But we still had that vision to build a new school, something that would have the symbol of the pride of the Saanich people. And today you can see that in our totem poles and the designs that our young people have put on all these buildings. And hopefully that our children will take that pride in the school, that they can go on in their education, because it's kind of a two-way street now. That you have to learn the white man's way and also retain our traditions and be proud of it. And we hopefully that this school will do just that. You know, we can still look forward, and we still see that vision of ours that one day that we will be self-sufficient through the children that are going through this school now. And I hope as years go by and as people pass on like myself, our dreams will be carried on, our visions will be carried on by the new generation that's coming up, because education is so important to us. And with us given the responsibility of hiring our own teachers and of seeing that the education our children gets is better than the provincial schools, what they have to offer, and we're proud to do that.
Säga, tässä sitä skapelse die ena. Skapelstuks från avstuks. Skålse att jag slet kosai. Och jag sa lo essa. Christians, så. Armats det oistes nangala. Ang English statikon.
However, it is time to go beyond being survivors and to begin the long road of decolonization and cultural freedom for our Saanich people. The struggle for freedom and decolonization is not new to indigenous people in the world community. We have seen it in South Africa, in Beijing, in Poland, and closer to home amongst the black people in North America. In fact, decolonization and freedom is one of the greatest struggles that will never leave the agenda of the world leaders until it is addressed honestly, without political or economic gain as the motivating force by the developed nations of the world, including Canada. It was a great day for Saanich Indian people on September the 1st, 1988, because it was then that we took back the responsibility for the education of our children. We raise our Saanich flag today, and it will fly as long as Indian people are not a real part of the Canadian Constitution. We declare today that Tleunuk, our sacred mountain, belongs to the Saanich Indian people, and we will not stand idly by as others seek to destroy it.
Gave Barlavan to dedicate the school to the Saanich children.
Thank you for asking me to be part of what's happening here today. You know, I'm so happy about this that it becomes a kind of an emotional thing to me. I never thought that I were going to live this long, to see our children go into a place where we could be with them and help them along in their future.
on in life. You got to learn both sides of this culture that we live in. Be proud that you're a Saanich person.
After everyone got down the hill, we started to walk through another trail. We kept walking and Lyle showed us the bath place. We walked a little farther and he told us about the little people. We kept walking and my mom gave Mrs. Pistel and me a piece of saskeet. It was really good. Lyle showed us the rock quarry. Some of the students took the wrong turn by the bath place because they went ahead. That is what I call bad listening. Well, I really liked it and I thought it was fun. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I think it was neat.